Equations of the quadratic form. With an equation of this type, you are asked to rewrite it in terms of t's or some other different variable so that it looks like a quadratic, a regular standard quadratic equation. Well, the good thing is when you see something that looks like this, if whatever's inside your parentheses is exactly the same, you can rewrite it using this rule. What we're going to do is we're going to let that part that I've underlined there represented by t. So I'm going to rewrite this as t squared plus 5t minus 14 equals 0. And you can see this equation looks much easier than the prior one to solve. However, when you solve this, you're solving for t. So then you got to remember to use substitution and plug it back in. Alright, to factor this has to be t and t. Again, we're just using trial and error factoring. I need two numbers that multiply to give me negative 14. That will add to give me 5. And it's going to be a positive 7 and a negative 2. Okay, when I set both these equal to 0, I get t equals negative 7 and t equals 2. Now a lot of people stop here and they circle those answers and they forget that they actually solve for t and not x. You must go back and solve for x. So once you do this, you're going to take what you let t represent, which is the part I have underlined, and substitute it back in. So where I have this t, I'm going to put x minus 8 over x equals negative 7. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. X minus 8 over x equals positive 2. And then I'm going to solve these two equations. Now when solving these two equations, you first have to multiply everything by x. That gets rid of that variable in the denominator. So when I do that, multiply the entire equation by x. I'm going to get x squared. When I multiply x times 8 over x, the x is canceled, so I get minus 8 equals negative 7x. Okay, the other equation, I'll get x squared minus 8 equals 2x. Now, because I still have squared terms and linear terms, I still need to do some more factoring. So I'm going to get everything on the same side. First equation, I'm going to add 7x to both sides and get it set equal to 0. Second equation, do the same thing. Subtract 2x from both sides and get it set equal to 0. Okay, and then I'm going to factor these two. And these are going to be my actual answers in terms of x, and that's what I'm looking to solve for. With my first equation, two numbers that would multiply to give me negative 8, that would add to give me a positive 7. It's positive 8 and negative 1. Okay, over here, I would need two numbers to multiply to give me negative 8. That would add to give me a negative 2. And that would be negative 4 and positive 2. Alright, once I get those factored forms, my answers are just when I set each part equal to 0. So I have negative 8, positive 1 from these two over here. And then from over here I have positive 4 and negative 2. So this would be my solution set. Negative 8, 1, 4, and negative 2. And you could take those numbers and plug them back into your original equation and see that they all work. This is an example of an equation in the quadratic form.